Chapter 8, August, Octave Notes. August 1st. I've always loved Ibanez guitars, and in particular 7 strings, Paul Wardingham. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Paul. The first guitar I ever had was an electric Ibanez, and it served me well for many years. I learned how to write songs, play classic rock riffs, and just mess around for hours on that wonderful instrument. Although it is a well-known brand in Landing guitars, I feel like guitar snobs would look down on them. Why? Because it's not Fender, Martin, Epiphone, or the several other big-name brands that boast an all-around richer, warmer, more refined sound. Like most things in life, it's all based on personal taste and opinion. If someone prefers the sound of an Ibanez over an Epiphone, they're going to brag about the Ibanez. The same works vice versa. The moral of the story is to not let popular opinion dictate your own personal opinion. It could inform it, but don't allow it to think for you. August 2nd. I think you have to know exactly what you want. Whether you want to be a guitar player or musician, you have to be really focused on it if you really want to do it. Johnny Lang. This is so true with anything in life, Johnny. If you don't know exactly what you want in life, then there is a good chance you will go wandering, aimless, confused, and uncertain of your purpose. Another way of looking at this quote is wholeheartedly believing in something or someone. This could be yourself, with unwavering conviction and faith. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. To have a strong backbone is key. Otherwise, you follow anything or what claims to be the next best thing instead of what you believe to be true, honest, real, authentic. In order to be great at anything, a great amount of focus is necessary. Focus time combined with mental and physical entry to the task at hand, if you will, is exactly what you need to become well-versed in that thing, area, industry, etc. Without focus, time, and energy, you will inevitably fall short of achieving the best result or the goals you set for yourself. When we enter into this flow state, wonderful things happen for us and to us. Time and space disappear, and you essentially become the thing you are doing, be it playing guitar, playing any musical instrument, writing code, doing research for your work, and so much more. All in all, once we know what we want, let us be intentional in our focus so as to bring out the best in ourselves as well as the best in the product or goal through that journey. August 3rd. Write great songs that sound amazing if sung and played on the piano or acoustic guitar. Always encourage sing-alongs. Be prolific. Say yes to new collaborations because you never know where it could lead. Wendy Starland. Wonderful words of wisdom, Wendy. Writing great songs is essential to becoming prolific because the more you write great songs, the more people will want to work with you in writing more great songs. It's a positive domino effect and bountiful feedback loop that never ends. Sing-alongs are awesome because they directly involve everyone in your presence to join in on the fun, becoming a part of the performance. This is especially felt at concerts with thousands of people singing harmoniously, simultaneously with each other. There is power in numbers. And saying yes to collaborating with other people is the good stuff of life. When I collaborate with other musicians, it gives me the opportunity to be my best self, not only in the writing process, but also with communicating, listening, understanding, and compromising. Essentially, it encourages me to become a better version overall person. Because if you don't work on these attributes, no one will want to work with you. You'll make more enemies than friends, and you won't end up doing what's best for the song because your ego will have caused more harm than good. August 4th. I give myself time with a guitar and PA to let my subconscious do its thing. This happens repeatedly over a period of time, and slowly a set of songs emerge that make some sort of sense to me as a body of work that turns into an album. Scout Niblet. It's amazing when we don't rush things and we let the inspiration unfold itself for our benefit, right? Some of the most beautiful things can occur, like an entire album's worth of songs, or starting, then building a successful business, or writing a novel, or running a marathon. What do these all have in common? 1. All of these are great accomplishments. We ought to celebrate them loud and proud. 2. None of these happen overnight. To create something long-lasting, meaningful, and impactful, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, or in other words, time and energy. Giving ourselves the freedom to create in non-judgmental, non-conforming, peaceful spaces, we are allowing ourselves to be fully in the moment time and time again without reservation. I don't know about you, but this is where I've been able to create the best-sounding music, the most intelligent, creative, and insightful lyrics and poetry, and the most coherent and insightful prose. Do yourself a favor and give yourself permission to create what you truly want for as long as you possibly can. You might surprise yourself and help you teach the former, current, and next generations a thing or two. The world will be a better place for it. August 5th. B.B. King will be remembered for his impressive skills on the guitar. That King defined the blues genre. Chris Matthews. To be remembered for something so epic like this is quite rare and special. I mean, to be credited with defining an entire genre. Does it get any better than that? No, not really. The only thing I could think of that's on par with this in the musical realm is to have the most memorable, catchy, long-lasting song of all time. Although I've never seen B.B. King perform live in person, I've seen some footage of him on YouTube, and Chris's quote rings true. He is truly impressive on the guitar. Way to go, Mr. King. Way to go. August 6th. When I was a teenager, I learned that in order to play guitar like Johnny Ramone, it takes a huge amount of physical effort. Kevin Shields. Yes, it does, my friend. Yes, it does. Now, I would argue that it takes a huge amount of physical effort to play guitar in any band, including the Ramones. Why? Because not only do you have to hold the guitar for potentially hours on end during a concert, generally electric guitars are heavier than acoustic guitars and are at least 5 pounds, but to put on a great performance, you are more likely moving around, swinging it around your back, and lifting it up and down several times. In addition to this, if you are a band starting out, you are carrying your own equipment to the gig, using it, breaking it down, and carrying it out of the gig yourself. This is an aside to how you play your guitar, which is what I believe Kevin is speaking to with this quote. Johnny played the heck out of his instrument with fast and furious strumming, working his fingers, hands, wrists, and forearms to the bone. I can attest that when you play fast and hard, your upper body goes through the ringer, if you will. It is a workout, not for the faint of heart. This shouldn't stop you from going on the adventure of this guitar playing in a band, as it's a fun and worthwhile experience. August 7th. I like loud electric guitars because I like how you can just lose your entire being in the sound. Michael Gira. Very insightful, Michael. Yes, this is true. Whether you're playing guitar, the drums, or listening to any kind of music played loud over speakers, there is a large element of losing yourself in the sound, and song for that matter. It's as if the sound has taken over everything in its path and you become one with it. This can happen at concerts, at nightclubs, roller rinks, as we've experienced after my son's hockey practice, where the Friday night public skate kicks into high gear, weddings, band practice, and parties. There is something very special at play in these situations, and if you have been lucky enough to experience it, you yearn for it more and more. What the loudness does is help you be fully in the moment, focusing all your energy on the sound or song and nothing else. The same can be experienced in silence as well. Maybe you're walking in nature and hear nothing but your feet taking the next step on a trail. Maybe you're at home falling asleep and hear nothing but the sound of your heartbeat. In a world where distractions and noise are ever more prevalent, these moments are few and far between. Let's do our best to seek them out and hold on to them. August 8th. I don't really feel like a rock artist, but I guess in the small category of the world of music genres, that's where I fall in because I've got a guitar. Courtney Barnett. I feel you, Courtney. Labels can be good to categorize things. Otherwise, we won't have a name for this thing or that thing, and the world will be more in a state of uncertainty and chaos. However, if we label everything, then human beings feel the need to put whatever people and things that fit in the description of that label into a box. Being in a box is limiting. Being in a box makes people assume we are one thing and not another thing. Being in a box can stifle creativity, ingenuity, innovation, and invention. It's very hard to break out of the box once society or an industry puts us in one. But the human race needs exactly that, outside of the box thinking, to creatively solve some of the world's most pressing issues: hunger and poverty, world peace, global warming, and just being kinder to the environment, to name a few. Let us be mindful of how we label things into our people, because we might not only be selling them short, but ourselves as well. August 9th. At a certain point, you realize it's easy to play music with the rest of your life. Just don't sell your guitar. Maybe you get a day job, but as long as you have a guitar, you can play it. Travis Morrison. So true. If you don't have an instrument anymore, it's going to be quite difficult to play. This might seem like common sense, but it may not be for some people who are impulsive and just looking for the next best thing guitar-wise. Some musicians like to trade up to get the newest, latest, and greatest acts. Others collect guitars and hang them in their house like decorations. As far as getting a day job goes, that's great. By all means, go out and get a day job if your guitar playing is more of a hobby than a career. You could still do both, though. Have a career and play guitar. One step better is turning your guitar playing into a career. For me, this was, is, and always will be the Holy Grail. I've said this for a long time and have all intentions of continuing to say that as long as I have my wits about me and my fingers are in good working condition, I can play guitar until I'm an old man. The moral of the story is to keep at least one guitar in hand. This way you always have to jam, practice, write, and perform. August 10th. Well, harpsichord is kind of a big guitar, isn't it? I mean, it's a plucked after all. Mahan Esfahani. I get what Mahan is trying to get out with likening to the two of these string instruments, but the reality is that a harpsichord is not a big guitar. They are two entirely different and independent instruments from one another. A harpsichord looks very much like a standard piano. Although it is plucked, it's more like a piano than it is a guitar. You can draw a small comparison with the plucking aspect of each, but a guitar is usually strummed or picked, not plucked. Plucking is taking one or two strings at a time and sort of pulling them off the fretboard a bit. Strumming is playing multiple or all the strings at once in a chordal manner, and finger picking is using one or more fingers to play the strings into strumming and plucking, combination ways, single or multiple notes at the same time. August 11th, pushing myself against my own will, really, because some of this stuff is hard. I don't consider myself to be a great guitar player, so pushing myself as a guitar player, pushing myself as a singer, as a performer, and just riding that fine line between being so hard on yourself that it's counterproductive and being so hard on yourself that nothing is ever good enough is what drives me. Cody Johnson. Whew. There's definitely a fine line between demanding excellence and perfectionism. And this is what Cody is speaking to with this quote. Demanding excellence from yourself is a good thing. It continues to push you forward, striving to become a better version of yourself every single day, even by small incremental steps. It could be learning a new word in a foreign language. It could be practicing patience with someone who gets under your skin. Or it could be getting a little bit better on guitar by practicing a new scale. However, if we go too far with this, it can be detrimental to not only our progress, but to our own mental health. Nobody is perfect, so to take it to that extreme is unhealthy. The last thing you want to do is to talk yourself negatively all the time. If this ends up happening, it's easy to start thinking, I'll never be good enough, so why even start? Then analysis paralysis can set in. Ideally, it's all about balance. There has to be a balance between striving for perfection, but knowing that it isn't actually possible. And this is okay. To get better each day and truly try your best is all we can hope for in ourselves as well as anyone else. August 12th. It's just me and my guitar and the rhythms from there and the poetry of life. Terrence Howard. I love this. This quote is in and of itself poetic. Just you and your instrument creating beautiful music through the playing, performing of it, as well as the lyrics written along to said music. This is what it's all about. The rhythm that comes from time spent with your instrument can be seen as both metaphorical and literal. It's metaphorical in the sense that when you're in the flow state or zone, time, space, and place disappear into the ether. You become one with whatever it is you are doing or thinking about at that exact moment. Nothing else matters. There's an unconscious rhythm to this state of being. It's literal in the sense that music, both lyrical and melodic, can only exist in time and space with rhythm. Whether this rhythm is created by an instrument, several instruments, the human body, or lyrics, rhythm is ever present, guiding and informing both the performer and the listener. This is like life, in that life has its ebbs and flows, just like music does in different parts of songs. And all the while, through this ebbing and flowing, there is a steady rhythm to every day beating its drum in the background. When we manage to combine these two forms of rhythm, this is where the magic happens. True beauty and inspiration can be witnessed and experienced. August 13th. If I'm feeling musical and I pick up the guitar, usually something and eventually will come out, and I'll see where it goes. William Fitzsimmons. This is the epitome of following the muse and showing up. If I've learned anything about opportunities in life, most of it is about showing up. If we don't show up, how can we expect to succeed? Put simply, we can't. So in order to create as many positive opportunities for ourselves, our loved ones, and those in our inner circle as we can, we have to show up. This can mean taking a phone call from a family member who's going through a rough time mentally. This can mean driving someone home after they had too much to drink. This can mean helping a child with their homework. If we aren't both physically and mentally present, then we won't be able to help at all. In fact, if we aren't mentally present, we do have the ability to make things worse, although that may not be our intention. So when William says, usually something will eventually come out and I'll see where it goes after picking up the guitar, he's saying that if he sits with the instrument and song enough, something good will unfold itself. The best way to ensure we have opportunities to create something beautiful, impactful, and lasting is to develop a practice of doing the thing, whatever it may be, every single day. For writing, it means sitting down at the desk for several hours, putting in the necessary time and energy it takes to write a book. For weightlifting, it's going to the gym and pumping out rep after rep. Once the proverbial ball gets rolling, it's hard to stop the positive momentum you've created or are creating. You've opened a Pandora's box in the best kind of way, and now the muse has free reign to inhabit your being. And as long as we are open to following the muse, good things will come. If you build it, they will come. August 14th. I had a guitar sitting around, and it just happened to have 4 strings on it, and I would sit around watching TV and playing it. I ended up writing bunches of songs around 4 strings. Bill Orcutt. Blah, blah, you can create beauty even in less than ideal situations. I mean, to write songs with 2 missing strings is impressive. You're doing without 1/3 of the strings in a traditional guitar. Bill said, so what if I don't have all the strings? I can still write. This is exactly the right attitude to have with writing songs as it is with life. Believe me, there are going to be times in life that are less than ideal. In fact, I would argue that most of our lives are spent in less than ideal situations. The car breaks down. The baby is crying all night and won't sleep. You're late on your mortgage payment because the check hasn't hit your account yet. In the moment, these can be highly frustrating. Some may think of these as small problems. Over the long run, these moments and small problems help build character, as well as encourage us to think creatively about solving these problems. Call it AAA for the car and be kind to the customer service person. Give the baby a bottle of milk. Rock it gently and stay calm. Talk to the bank about asking for a grace period of 1 week to make the payment and explain why you need it in a calm voice. Throughout life, there are definitely going to be problems, and if we've never practiced that muscle before, when a real problem occurs, we'll most likely have a major freak out and not be able to handle the situation. If we have been able to practice this muscle, a real problem might not seem so bad when it surfaces in our lives. We have already prepared for it and can stay calm, cool, and collected through it. There's beauty and peace in staying calm and positive when life throws curveballs at us. I like to think that William was able to create songs he would not have been able to during that time. He was only playing a guitar with 4 strings in it. How is this possible? Because he had to think about playing the instrument in a different way and could have made up his own chords, different strumming patterns, and the like. August 15th. Nothing is as nice as plugging in your guitar and turning up the volume really loud, just seeing what kind of beautiful noise you can make with it. Carrie Brownstein. There's definitely something to this, Carrie. I remember when I first started playing electric guitar, I used to turn the amp up as loud as I could go and just wail on it. My parents didn't enjoy it so much, but I had a ball cranking it up and letting those open chords and power chords ring out for as long as the amp would sustain them. Sometimes I get some cool harmonics going. Sometimes I would get some interesting feedback going. Every time it was a blast. As strange as it may seem, by playing the guitar really loud, it can help you be in the moment. There's nothing else you can really think about it except for how wonderfully loud the guitar and amp is at that given time. Your focus is now right to the sound, or as Carrie puts it, beautiful noise. That's a great description of extremely loud music, beautiful noise. This is, of course, if you're open to seeing and hearing it that way. So turn it up, play it loud, and make that beautiful noise only you can make. August 16th, Bob Dylan began to incorporate things into that scene that were controversial then. He got shouted at in Newport when he played electric guitar, for instance. There was a certain purity that was sought among those people. T-Bone Burnett. When you do something out of the ordinary, different, and seemingly out of character, it can frustrate and even scare people. It doesn't mean it's wrong, though. It's just different. And it shouldn't stop you from pursuing that other mode of being or doing something. In fact, it should inspire you to continue down that alternative path because you could be onto something. What you were doing is expanding your repertoire, building upon what you have already established in a new way, and creating a unique experience not only for yourself, but for anyone else who might be following in your footsteps or just following you, like fans. This is exactly what Bob experienced, not just at Newport, but for the entire time he went electric. It was something people weren't used to, as he was all acoustic up until that point. But in order for him to push the envelope, move into the future, and enhance his songwriting, it was a great move to strap on electric and go for it. Also, you can still be pure with an electric guitar, it just will sound louder than acoustic. But the type of songs you write and perform can be real, raw, authentic, and coming from a deep place within. That is pure. August 17th, rap is rock and roll. Rock is when you push the buttons in the system when you say, I'm not going along with what you're saying. That's rock, whether it's done with guitars or it's done with just beats. Ice-T. I get where Ice-T is coming from with this quote, but I wouldn't go so far as to say rap is rock and roll. You can say that rap is like rock and roll and that it questions the establishment and sings for something deep and true. In actuality, rap is more like punk rock than it is straight rock. Punk rock is all about going against the grain and speaking out on behalf of the minority, which sometimes is closer to the majority than we all think, and sticking it to the man, if you will. Both punk rock and rock and roll are done with loud, distorted guitars and powerful and/or screamed lyrics and vocals. It's as if the musicians are saying, hey, look at us and hear us over here, as if they are truly making their presence known. Rap in its initial stage embodied similar attributes. It was countercultural to the mainstream. It was something that grew from the underground and had a very grassroots approach like punk rock and rock. All in all, if you're looking to make a statement, rap and rock could very well be the keys to unlock that door. And with bands like Linkin Park, Rage Against the Machine, and Limp Bizkit, combining both rap and rock is really going to make some waves. April 18th. I never wanted to stop. I feel like to the day I die, I'll play guitar and sing. Taryn Manning. Keep on going then, Taryn. I give you permission to continue doing so. You ought to give yourself the permission to do so as well. As long as you have your wits about you and your fingers and hands still work, you can play guitar until the day you die. It's not only a great hobby, but a great way to express yourself creatively. I can attest to this personally, as I've been playing guitar for 23 years now and have all intentions of keeping it up for the rest of my life. It's helped me get out the anxious energy I have inside. It's helped me process what's going on in the world through songwriting. It's helped other people through their own healing and enjoyment. Basically, it's the gift that keeps on giving to you and to others, which makes it a win-win all around. August 19th. I'm glad I get singled out for my slide guitar playing, which isn't that difficult to do. I didn't take guitar lessons, but I just love the way it sounds, almost like the human voice, Bonnie Raitt. There's something very special about playing the guitar in a unique way. As we've discussed throughout this book and some of our other ones, there are many different ways to play the guitar, just like there are many different ways to slice a pie. Playing the slide guitar is most certainly one of those ways. It is its own entity within music, similar to jazz music being its own musical language within the larger context of music being its own language. Bonnie is really onto something in saying that it does emulate the human voice, focusing more on individual notes and combination of two-noted chords rather than attacking full-on chords. If you've ever heard someone play the ebow, I see that piece of musical equipment as its own kind of instrument that combines elements of the human voice in a single violin. And to comment on her admission of not taking guitar lessons, everyone learns in their own way. I didn't take guitar lessons either and could play thousands of songs as well as wrote hundreds of songs to date. There is a lot of freedom in teaching yourself an instrument because you go through the growing pains of trial and error and then figure things out for yourself in a way that makes the most sense to you and not to someone else. August 20th, I'm a real sucker for guitars. I've had a crush on many guitars. J.K. Rowling. I am 100% with you, J.K. I would even go further to say that I'm just a sucker for all string instruments. There's just something so real, raw, authentic, and pure that comes from string instruments, especially if they are acoustic ones. I mean, they're made from wood, so they come straight from the earth. To her point about being a sucker for strictly guitars, this is the first instrument I learned, so I am partial to both acoustic and electric guitars as they have been in my life for 23 years now. I love being able to pick up a piece of wood with strings on it, place my fingers at various spots along the neck, and create beauty through music and lyrics at the same time. I lose track of all time and space to become one with the song I am playing or writing. What's not to love about that? Also, let's not forget that there is a certain coolness to seeing someone holding or playing a guitar. They automatically have this magnetic vibe to them, so I don't blame you at all for having a crush on a guitarist. I would too. August 21st. Guitar players get inward and analytical about their playing, but when you start to get positive feedback from other players, it makes you think that it is coming together. John Petrucci. I know exactly what you were talking about, John. I can be very self-critical and extremely hard on myself, demanding excellence and perfection with everything I do, especially on the guitar. It's very easy to fall into the trap of beating yourself up for having missed a note, not playing that one section fast enough, or forgetting the lyrics to a song you've sung 100 times before. That headspace is not a great place to be when writing, practicing, and definitely performing in front of other people. I have to consciously remind myself that no one is perfect, that I'm trying my best all the time. So when someone makes a comment that speaks to the opposite, I very much welcome it with open arms, saying, "Thank you, I really appreciate words." Goes a long way for the person who initially made the comment as well as the recipient of those words. What it does is create a positive feedback loop that the writer and performer can go back to in times of doubt or negative self-talk. It also reminds the musician that they are on the right track and they continue pushing forward on their musical journey. August 22nd, when I'm writing with just an acoustic guitar, it can be for anyone. Dan Auerbach. So true. I would even go further to say that when you write on any one particular instrument, it can be for anyone, be it guitar, one ukulele, one piano, one drum, it doesn't matter the instrument. The fact that you are One person writing on one instrument means that one person can enjoy you playing or performing on one instrument. Why? Because they can see themselves in you being one person. The listener might think, that guy is thinking about the same thing as me, or that guy experienced the same situation as me. There is a purity, a realness, a rawness, an authentic element to one person playing one instrument. If it's a good song, it will be glaringly obvious right from the get-go, since the song has nothing to hide behind other than one instrument and one guitar. The more instruments and effects are added to the mix, the harder it is to tell if it's truly a good song or not. It's easier to hide behind fancy bells and whistles, auto-tune, or synthesized machines, so it's difficult to decipher what the core essence or foundation of the song is. You can't mistake it when it's one instrument and one voice. It's all out there on the line. Take it or leave it. August 23rd. I write songs on guitar, and that's about how good of a guitar player I am. I can write songs on it. Billy Bob Thornton. There's nothing wrong with that, Billy Bob. Some people make an entire career off of writing songs on the guitar, and long-lasting, impactful, legendary ones at that. Take Johnny Cash, for example. He didn't play any complicated chords and any difficult time signatures. He just played simple chords and meaningful lyrics at a fairly standard pace or beat. And he will go down as one of the most famous country and folk artists of all time. The more I've been playing the guitar, the more I think about simplifying everything I do on it. Playing simple chords, fun and catchy melodies, and straightforward beats. For one, it's easier to play and remember chord changes and lyrics. The same goes for the listener. If there are difficult and complex changes in chords and beats, it can make it challenging to follow along, therefore losing people before they've even given your music a chance. So I say keep on going for it, Billy Bob. You never know what you can create by keeping it simple for yourself and others to enjoy. August 24th. I realized that I really didn't like the sound of the ukulele so much, so I started playing the guitar. Lola Kirk. To each his own, Lola. Like anything in life, there are pros and cons to every decision we make. For the ukulele, some of the pros are that it's very compact and light. It's very portable. You can take it anywhere, and sometimes can even fit it into a book bag. It's easier to play than a guitar because there are less strings and certain chords only need one finger to hold down. It's also more pleasing to the ears for most people since it can only be so loud when you play it. The cons are that it naturally plays louder sounding notes, which can be annoying to some people. Most of the time, the strings are made of nylon, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. For guitar, some of the pros are that a lot of people play it, so you're automatically lumped into a group of people who are seen as cool or hip. There's a larger community of people who play guitar than ukulele. Many popular songs are written on this instrument, so it's a great instrument for writing songs and playing covers too. You can bring it anywhere as well, and can just take it out anytime you feel like jamming. The cons are that it can be a bit bulky, it can sound distorted when you don't want it to, and the strings often break on it. If given the choice, I would still pick guitar over ukulele any day. It's the first instrument I ever learned, and it has helped me through some very hard times in life. August 25th. For us, Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is bigger than the music. It is very much an experience that brings a lot of skills and discoveries about yourself together. In that respect, it also enables you to learn that being in a band is a lot tougher than sitting around and playing guitar in your bedroom. Rob Halford. Learning to work well with others isn't the easiest thing to do. It takes much practice over time, and we still fall short on occasion. Throw in the elements of sacrifice and compromise, and you have a real concoction of craziness swirling around any conversation, situation, or song. To be involved in a fantasy camp of this nature is both eye-opening and transparent. You can't hide forever, so diving into uncomfortable situations and tackling the hard things is exactly what is needed to mature and become a better version overall of yourself. It's one thing to write and perform songs on your own because you get to make all the decisions. It's quite another thing to collaborate with other people as far as what song goes where in the set list, how each song should start, end, and be played in the middle, live, what to wear to the promo shoot, what should be filmed, photographed, to put on social media, etc., etc., etc. Talk about suffering from decision fatigue with all these items and more, just if you're playing solo, never mind in a band with a few other people. These decisions are relentless and never-ending. To have the ability and know-how to navigate these murky waters is pivotal for the success of each song in the band as a whole. So if you're ever in a position to learn these skills, pay attention and incorporate them into your repertoire. August 26th. Writing music and playing guitar was really what I wanted to do forever. Chris Allen. I feel you, Chris. I feel you. If writing music and playing guitar is a passion of yours, then pursue that passion with as much energy and time as possible. We only live once, so to not go after the thing that lights us up, gives us energy, or inspires us would be a real shame. Is it always easy? No, definitely not. Is it always worthwhile and meaningful? Yes, most certainly, yes. Don't let anyone stop you from living out your dreams. After all, it's your dreams, not theirs. They don't know what is best for you because they're not you. Similarly, you don't know what's best for anyone else because you're not them. Let us be focused on our own mission and not be distracted by naysayers and the like. August 27th. I guess that somehow I've survived as a professional guitar player. I've made it 16 years now, and I feel like I'm just getting started. Variety is the secret to the success of that. Monty Pittman. Keeping it fresh, unexpected, and on the verge of something new and exciting. This is what Monty is speaking to with variety. It could be writing in multiple genres, writing on multiple instruments, and collaborating with other musicians that fosters variety. It could be writing or learning songs in a different language that fosters variety. It could be teaching students young and old how to play guitar that fosters variety. It could be learning new instruments that fosters variety. Bottom line is that there are several ways to go about enhancing your musical experiences as you go further into the world of music. Don't limit yourself to only one mode of being, because although that can be highly focused, it can also become highly boring very quickly. The last thing you would want to happen to you is for music to become this stale thing where you don't feel like you're getting any better, and even worse, not making positive and innovative contributions in your field. The second we start to think outside of the box and try new things out is the second we increase our chances of creativity, innovation, and invention. Be on the cutting edge of something, not on the cutting block. August 28th. Even though I play guitar, I don't do it publicly. Nick Nolte. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just playing guitar and enjoying it in the comfort of your own home or quiet place is awesome. It doesn't have to be something that is done for other people to enjoy. As long as you are enjoying the process, the journey, and the sound you are creating, that's a beautiful thing for you in the short term and long term. It will most certainly resonate with you for many moons to come. August 29th. I always thought if a guy could play the guitar, he must be something really special. Chrissy Hind. I would have to agree, Chrissy, but I would take it one step further and saying if anyone could play the guitar, there must be something and someone really special. The same goes for any other musical instrument, in my opinion. It takes a lot of time, focus, energy, commitment, and discipline to learn how to play an instrument. It's a lifelong process because no one will ever be able to know everything there is to know about an instrument. There are new ways to play that pop up, new genres being created as time goes on, as well as new songs being written and performed that can challenge and inspire us. So it's not always the easiest thing to stay current with all the changes going on. This same concept can be applied to other industries and areas of life as well. Doctors have to stay in the know with new medicines, new ways of doing procedures or performing surgeries, new tools and devices they can use to help treat patients, new information which can help better diagnose people. Police officers and anyone dealing with the law on a daily basis have to stay informed and up to date with any changes in the law, enforcing it to the best of their ability. There are always new trainings to take. You get the point. At the end of the day, everyone is not just something, but someone special because we all have unique gifts, talents, and skills in our repertoire to use in order to make the world a better place. August 30th. Some prisons don't allow guitars because the strings can be detached and used as weapons. Truman Capote. As sad as this may seem, it does make sense. I mean, have you ever touched the end of a string? It's very sharp. And not only that, but the strings are wound very tight, made out of copper wiring, which most certainly can be used to choke or whip someone. Let's not forget that even if you keep the strings on a guitar, the instrument is made out of wood and would hurt quite a lot if it was hit over someone's head. You could break the guitar into multiple parts, using the sharp edges of each broken part as multiple weapons. It's crazy we have to think this way, but in order to keep the majority of people as safe and healthy as possible in prison, guitars may have to be a no-no. Although its obvious uses as a weapon detailed above, I believe guitars should still be allowed in all prisons. Its initial intention and fundamental nature is to create beauty through music. It can be a source of reprieve, peace, and therapy for anyone who plays and or listens. It can bring people together in a positive way, potentially changing the entire vibe of the prison from gray skies to sunny skies. August 31st. There's such a wealth of arts and styles within the guitar. Flamenco, jazz, rock, blues, you name it, it's there. In the early days, my dream was to fuse all those styles. Now composing has become just as important. Jimmy Page. You've got that right, Jimmy. Maybe this is the reason why he's become such an iconic, prolific, and legendary guitarist. It's because he's pulled from all different kinds of guitar styles and used them in a way no one did before. There's a certain creativity, innovation, and blind faith in doing something like this. At the time of Led Zeppelin's heyday, I can't think of any other band blending styles like they did. One song was straight rock and roll. The next song was a ballad using classical elements in it. The song after that was solely on an acoustic guitar, and the one after that combined elements of reggae before it was known as reggae, blues, and rock. It was exciting, groundbreaking, outside of the box. I'm sure at one point it became a point of pride and even a challenge to the band to see if they could write a song using the most amount of genres they could fit into one. This could very well have opened the door for other artists to follow in their footsteps. Bands like 311 and Linkin Park come to mind with fusing multiple genres together to form a new kind of music and unique sound. So kudos to you and the rest of the guys in Led Zeppelin, Jimmy, for showing us it can be done.